Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another learning video. In this video, we will learn about MHRA OOS Guideline. Before I begin, let me just tell you one thing that this video is for those who has never read MHRA OOS Guideline. And the main purpose of this video is to create a basic understanding about the OS investigation flow as per MHRA Guideline. So with that note, let us dive into the video without any further delay. MHRA guideline of OS investigation was first time published in August 2013. When this guideline was first time released, there was a mixed reaction from the pharma industry, mainly because the guideline was in the form of flowcharts and there was no clarity on the retesting. So because of these reasons, MHRA guideline on OS investigation was revised in Feb 2018. And this revised version of the guideline has offered a stepwise systemic approach on what should be considered at each stage of the investigation. As per MHRA guideline, OS investigation is divided into three phases, and those are phase 1, phase 2 and the phase 3. So let us understand what we will do in each phase. So we will begin with the phase 1 investigation. Phase 1 investigation is done at laboratory. And this is the reason phase 1 investigation is also known as laboratory investigation. Phase 1 investigation has been further divided into two phases, and those are phase 1A and phase 1B. So let us understand phase 1A investigation first. Phase 1A investigation is done to find out the obvious error for the OOS. Now the question arises, what is an obvious error? To understand the obvious error, you should know the dictionary meaning of the word obvious first. So the dictionary meaning of the obvious is clear, self-evident or apparent. Therefore, obvious error means a clear evidence. Now let us see the examples of the obvious errors which are given in the MHRA guideline. So in MHRA guideline, total 5 examples of the obvious errors are given. Number 1 is calculation error, number 2 power outage or the power failure error, number 3 equipment failure, number 4 testing error, and number 5 is incorrect instrument parameters. Well, all these examples are very simple and easy to understand, or I can say that all these examples are self-explanatory. But still, let me explain you one of the example. Let us see this one. Incorrect instrument parameters. Suppose for assay test by HPLC, wavelength of the detector is given as 230 nanometer in the method, but analyst has used a wavelength 235, because of which OS results were obtained. So in this example, usage of the incorrect wavelength is the obvious error for getting the OS results. Now we will repeat the analysis as a part of the correction and propose suitable kappa. But if in case you didn't get any obvious error during the phase 1A investigation, then phase 1B investigation should be initiated. And one more important point with respect to phase 1A investigation which you should always keep in mind is that whenever any obvious error occurred during the analysis, then same should be documented by the analyst and should be acknowledged by the supervisor as well. So this was all about the phase 1A investigation. And now let us learn about the phase 1B investigation. Phase 1B investigation is done when no obvious error is identified in phase 1A investigation. Phase 1B investigation is done to find out the assignable cause. Now the question arises, what is an assignable cause? So the definition of assignable cause as per MHRA guideline is identified reason or the cause for getting OOS result is called as assignable cause. Phase 1B investigation is done by the analyst and the supervisor together. And generally, analyst is interviewed in the phase 1B investigation to understand the knowledge of the analyst on the procedure which he has followed during the analysis. And the phase 1B investigation is usually done with the help of a predefined checklist. So let us see some of the checkpoints which are verified during the phase 1B investigation. So check whether correct testing method is used for the analysis or not. Check whether correct sample is taken for the analysis or not. Check whether all the instruments which are used for the analysis are within the calibration date. Check whether correct standard is used for the analysis. Check whether the system suitability conditions are meeting before the analysis and during the analysis. Check whether correct and clean glassware is used for the analysis. Check whether analyst is qualified for the test. So likewise, there are total 21 checkpoints are given in the MHRA OOS guideline. You can read all these checkpoints to know more, because all these checkpoints are very simple and easy to understand. Now the question arises, what to do if we didn't get assignable cause even after verifying all these checkpoints? So the answer to this question is clearly given in the MHRA guideline, that if cause of the OS results remain unclear, in that scenario hypothesis testing or investigative testing shall be done. So hypothesis testing is generally done to confirm possible root cause, and hypothesis testing may include further testing regarding filtration, sonication or centrifugation, etc. Well, after doing hypothesis testing, if you still didn't get assignable cause for the OOS, then investigation shall be forwarded to manufacturing for phase 2 investigation. Now let us understand about the phase 2 investigation. As I said, phase 2 investigation is done when we didn't get any assignable cause from the phase 1 laboratory investigation. Phase 2 investigation is generally carried out at manufacturing where a drug product was manufactured. And the main purpose of phase 2 investigation is to find out the possible manufacturing root cause. So let us see what are the things which we need to check during the phase 2 manufacturing investigation. Check and verify whether the batch was manufactured as per the current version of the batch manufacturing record or not. Check and verify whether the manufacturing instructions given in the batch manufacturing record were followed or not. Take the interview of the operators and the supervisors who were involved in the manufacturing activity. Check and verify the details of the in-process quality checks which were carried out during the manufacturing. Check and verify the calibration details of the instruments or the equipments which were used to carry out the in-process quality checks. Check and verify any kind of malfunctioning of the equipment or the machine during the manufacturing activity. Check and verify how the sampling was done, or I can say that how the sample was collected, whether it was collected as per the written procedure or not. Check and verify whether there were any delays during the manufacturing, or I can say that check whether manufacturing process completed within the stipulated time or not. Check and verify the environmental conditions during the manufacturing. Check and verify the previous history of the product for the similar failure. Check whether personnel involved in the manufacturing were trained or not. You can also check and verify whether the materials dispensed as per the required quantities or not. Check and verify whether there were any kind of failure or the interruptions in the utility services, for example, power interruptions or interruption in the purified water supply, etc. So these were some of the checks which you can verify during the phase 2 investigation. Now the question arises, what to do if we still didn't get any root cause from the phase 2 investigation? So if we didn't get any root cause from the above phase 2 investigation, then further hypothesis testing shall be done along with the consultation from the other departments like QA, QC and R&D if required. Before proceeding for the hypothesis testing, hypothesis proposal shall be approved by the quality assurance. And well, hypothesis proposal should include minimum information like what are the causes which are suspected for the OOS, what are the samples which will be tested during the hypothesis, how the hypothesis will be executed, and how the data of hypothesis will be evaluated. After executing the hypothesis testing, we will have 3 outcomes. Number 1. Suppose root cause identified as a laboratory error. In that case, retesting was done and all the test results found satisfactory. Further CAPA was proposed and OOS was stands closed as invalid. Second outcome. Root cause identified as a manufacturing error, and in that scenario batch will be rejected. Third outcome. No root cause identified from the hypothesis. Now out of these 3 situations, in these 2 situations we will do further investigation, and that will be called as phase 3 investigation. So let us see what we will do in the phase 3 investigation as per MHRA OOS guideline. Now comes the phase 3 investigation. So phase 3 investigation is done in 2 situations. Number 1, when the batch is rejected, and number 2, when no root cause is identified from phase 1 and phase 2 investigation. So let us understand both the situations one by one. First situation, when the batch is rejected. Well, MHRA guideline says that in case of batch rejection, we need to extend the OS investigation to other approved batches to check the impact of the current OOS. After assessing the impact on the other batches, appropriate corrective and preventive actions shall be implemented. Now let us see the second situation. If no root cause is identified from phase 1 and phase 2 investigation, in that scenario phase 3 investigation is done. Now the question is what we will do in phase 3 investigation. So in phase 3 investigation, manufacturing investigation and laboratory investigations are again reviewed thoroughly. Along with that, method validation data is also reviewed to find out the probable causes of the OS results. According to MHRA guideline, once batch has been rejected, there is no limit to further testing to determine the cause of the failure. And one more important point you can note down that once batch rejection decision is taken, it cannot be reversed back. According to MHRA, the impact of the OS result on other batches, ongoing stability studies, validated processes and test procedures should be determined by the quality control and quality assurance and should be documented in the conclusion along with the appropriate corrective and preventive actions. So this was all about the 3 phases of investigations as per MHRA OOS guideline. Well, other than these 3 phases, there are few more important topics which are given in the guideline, which I will try to cover in the next part of the video. So with that note, I would like to wrap up the video for now. Bye bye and happy learning.